So this video is gonna have some light Marvel spoilers. So if you haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet, and you care about spoilers, then just turn this off now. But if you have, then I wanna talk about what I think the show got right when talking about race and where things could have gone just a little bit better, I think. So let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on this channel. My name is Chase, and usually on this channel I don't talk about Marvel or TV shows or movies, but I just finished watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and so I just had to jump on here and talk about it because, and actually let me give just one more spoiler alert for anyone who may not have seen it yet, but Sam Wilson, who was the Falcon, is the new Captain America, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who saw Endgame. That's one of the things that I love about the Disney Plus shows, is that the first two at least have added details to what's going on, but there's not so much of an overall change in the storyline that those who don't watch the shows and only watch the movies would be completely lost. Like there are some new characters that are introduced, but largely the plot is unchanged. And also, I mean, Sam is an uncle, right? And so his sister's kids, the whole show, are calling him Uncle Sam, so it was pretty obvious what was gonna happen, that he was gonna be Captain America. But in the show, there were some major racial undertones and overt conversations, some that I think were done really, really well, and then one in particular that could have used a little bit more fine tuning, in my opinion. And if you're new to this channel, let me add that I'm by no means claiming to be the right or the wrong answer on any of this. This is just my opinion as a black fan of the MCU, and I'd love to get your thoughts as well. So whether you agree or disagree, leave a comment down below, and I'd love to hear your thoughts with all of this. So let me start by saying that 9 times out of 10, I despise when shows get unnaturally direct in messaging about social issues. Like when the scene becomes clear that it's not a conversation between some of the characters, but it's really a monologue from the writers to the viewers. I don't like that. Okay, one example would be one of the Doctor Who episodes. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and one of the Doctor Who episodes was about Rosa Parks, and this episode had me cringing so bad because the dialogue was just so unnatural. Okay, if you don't watch Doctor Who, it's about a time-traveling alien who looks like a human who saves the world over and over again in a little blue box. So you probably know just from that description if you would like the show or not. But in the show, there's one episode where they travel back in time, and basically they have to make sure that the Rosa Parks incident happens the way that it should, so that the civil rights movement remains intact. And this whole episode was so awkward. I mean, they're having conversations on the bus that Rosa Parks is on, and so people can clearly hear them, but no one seems to hear them. It's just so unnatural.
Don't get off, Graham. If we get off, there's enough empty seats for white passengers. Rosa won't be asked to move. We have to stay on.
And the whole reason I'm bringing that up is because that's an example of conversations in TV or in movies about race that are just so empty. And as a British show, you know, Doctor Who, I have to wonder how many American black people were in the writer's room on that one, because it just didn't hit. But in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in episode 5, there's a scene with Sam and Isaiah Bradley, who's an OG super soldier. And I'm not gonna go into all the details because one, I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, then you've seen the show. And then number 2, I don't wanna expose my comic ignorance in this video. So if you're already typing, actually, he wasn't an OG super soldier, he was one of many soldiers in the super soldier program. Like if you're already typing that, that's not what the point of this video is about. But it hit me after I was watching episode 5 that I think they nailed this one on the race dialogue, because it didn't take me out of the moment. Like I was fully engaged as I was watching this. And I think one of the reasons that Marvel was finally able to crack the code in how to talk about race in a real non-cringy way is because I think they were able to expose the complexity of racial issues in America for 2 reasons. Number 1, this wasn't just a black versus white situation. The conversation between Isaiah and Sam was a conversation between 2 black men who agreed on the mistreatment of black people in the country, but they disagreed on how to move forward. And that hit home to me in many ways. Like if this would have been an issue simply between Sam and some old racist white guy who didn't want a black person to be Captain America, that's just too cliche. Right? And it immediately makes Sam out to be the good guy and the white guy to be the bad guy, and all the power of that scene is just lost. And if it would have happened like that, you can just imagine all the writers in the room probably giving themselves high fives for solving racism, right? But in having this conversation between two black men, this showed the complexity of the racial issues in America and the fact that it's not just about black people and angry white people who don't like us, but it's so much more than that. There's the added complication in that there's extreme disagreement in how to move forward, even amongst minorities as well. Which leads to the second reason that I like the scene, and that's that this wasn't the classic right versus wrong scenario. And that made it so much more realistic, because the truth is that if this was real, and I know it's not real, like I might be sounding like I think it's real, I know it's not, but if this was, there would of course be angry non-black people who just don't like or want a black Captain America, but there would also be some major pushback from within the black community as well. When Isaiah Bradley said, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be Captain America, like that hit hard.
They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
And I think the reason that scene hits so hard is because, again, it shows that the conversation about race in America isn't just a black versus white issue, but it also isn't a situation where there is a clear right versus wrong. It almost gets into the hard to navigate waters of the fact that black people in America have what W.E.B. Du Bois called a double consciousness. And I talked about this in another video, so I'm not gonna get into all of this right now, but black people in America always have to wrestle with the fact that we are American, and I think we should have American pride, but sometimes the realities in this country about the mistreatment of black men and women make it hard to have American pride. I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago now that as I'm making this video, that there was the whole situation with the individual who was serving in the military and was stopped and mistreated by the police.
I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me? I didn't do anything. Whoa, hold it.
The policeman ordered Nazario, who was unarmed and wearing his military uniform, out of the car and knocked him to the ground.
I'm not trying to get into the details of all that story right now. And does that situation mean that every white person in America is racist? No. Not at all. And that's actually why this conversation is so much more complex than just hardcore racist people versus black America. And that's often how the conversation is boiled down to, and that's not what it is. And for that reason, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier did a great job in tackling this issue in episode 5. Okay. Now, I almost made this video immediately after watching episode 5, and I'm glad I didn't, because in the very next episode, they did exactly what I wish they wouldn't have done. And I still loved it. I still loved the show, and I think overall it was great. But in episode 6, the last episode, they had a conversation between the new Captain America and the global repatriation people. And it just became obvious that this was really a conversation directed for the viewers. Like, I almost started laughing when the music starts swelling and it cuts right to Bucky and he's smiling. And of course, the whole world is watching. There's TV cameras everywhere.
Look, you people have just as much power as an insane god or a misguided teenager. The question you have to ask yourself is, how are you going to use it?
That's just not realistic. All right. And I mean, it is a show about people with superhuman powers, so I know that's not realistic either. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and I think really one of the things that made it just seem too cliche is that it was, just too perfect, right? Captain America's there, there's cameras everywhere, the whole world's watching, and it just felt unnatural, I guess. I don't know, I think the scene could have been better if it had taken place maybe in the house with Isaiah Bradley, right? Or almost as closure to the conversation from the last week, or maybe if Captain America talked about all of these issues with the repatriation people, like in private, and maybe Bucky was listening behind one of the closed doors or something like that. I feel like that would have just been a little bit more natural. I don't know, but that one didn't hit, to me personally, like the one in the last episode. Probably because it was the exact opposite of why I love the other scene. Like this one did become the usual black guy lecturing the white people about what's right and what's wrong, and there was a clear right versus wrong in that situation. So maybe that's the formula for talking about race in Hollywood. Like just don't make it a lecture, just expose the tension and let us as the viewers have to work out where we stand on the issues, right? I don't know. But overall, I love the show. For once, I'm glad that they didn't shy away from racial issues, because the alternative would have been worse. Like I know a lot of people were like, why did they have to bring race into this at all? I don't know why that's my go-to angry person voice. But I mean, let's be real, you can't have a black Captain America without talking about race at all. So if Sam is the new Cap, then you have to address it, and overall, I think they handled it as best as they could in a great way. It was great, I should say, in episode 5, and it was good altogether. But that's just my thoughts. I'm just one guy. I'd love to know your thoughts as well. What did you think about how they handled the racial issues? And what do you think about the show as a whole? Do you like the general direction the MCU is headed? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments below. So thanks for watching this video. If you like this and you want to see more of this, some of our family vlogs, all of that, hit the subscribe button. Try and post videos as frequently as I can. And as always, I will see you guys on another video.